Hello, everybody. Hola, this is Paola Guthrie from Creating Purpose with Pao, and I welcome you to the Spanglish World Network and Heart Network on Singo TV, channels 250 and 251. Please remember to download Singo TV app on your respective app stores. When you download it, please rate it and leave a message. The app is totally free. Singo TV is available in Google Chromecast, Amazon Fire, Fire TV Stick, Roku Stick, and all smart TVs from 2016 and forward. I'm so excited today to have our beautiful friend, Sharon Grant. She is the CEO and the founder of Oasis of Serenity Counseling and Consulting. She's a licensed professional counselor as well as a personal development and marriage coach. And I welcome her to the house. Thank you for being here today.
Hello, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here again with you in this space.
Yes, so let's begin. Today we're going to talk about forgiving and letting go. So please grab your pen and paper because we might need to take a lot of notes just to learn to go through this process of forgiving. And please, Sharon, tell us what are the benefits, of forgiving and letting go.
So I want to start with just defining what forgiveness is and what forgiveness is not. So we can start off with a good foundation about forgiveness. So forgiveness is an intentional, deliberate decision that you're making to release that person or to let go of feelings of resentment or vengeance towards that person, regardless of whether you feel like the person actually deserve your forgiveness. So you're making an intentional decision to release this person from the debt that you feel like they owe you for the hurt that they caused you. All right. So what it is not is denying the seriousness of the offense. It is not forgetting or excusing what they did. So I want to be very clear about what it is and what it is not. Okay. All right. So, what are the benefits? I also want to add we're not obligated. You're not obligated to, once you forgive this person, you're not obligated to reconcile that relationship. You're not obligated to do that because you make that choice to forgive them. That's totally going to be your choice, unless there's some type of legal accountability or that they have to have consequences for that by the law. You don't have to necessarily reconcile with that person that hurt you. All right, so benefits of it. One of the biggest benefits of it is having inner peace, that peace on the inside that you have when you let go or release them of that debt or that desire to get back at them, that anger, that vengefulness, that I'm going to hurt you as much as you hurt me. When you're able to let that go, you have that inner peace. That's one of the biggest benefits of forgiving someone. Then there's emotional healing. When you let go and forgive someone, you're letting go of those deep, hidden, hurtful feelings that you have attached to what happened. It's very important because that bitterness can be like cancer, right? It can start out small, but then it consumes and grows into other areas that spill into other areas of your life. And so I like to compare it to just the growth of the cancer can happen. It also impacts it can have implications for your spirit life, physical as well as mental. If you choose to forgive. If you don't choose to forgive, then you have that strain on your spiritual beliefs, as far as your relationship with God, as well as physical manifestations could be, heart issues, high blood pressure, ulcers, and then the mental, those feelings of depression, anxiety, and obsessions with getting back with that person. So
Wow,
those are some
yeah.
of the benefits. And
Yes.
we've all heard that saying, forgive and forget, right? We've all heard that. We discussed that last time, I think, we had our time together. So when something traumatic happens to you, you think about forgiving this person. You can forgive them, but doesn't mean you're going to forget. What I mean by that is it is going to probably be in your mind, but it don't have to have that hold on you when you forgive them. So you can forgive, make a decision to forgive the person, but you're not going to necessarily forget, because our brains were developed to remember those things that were important to us. Also, reduction of stress. That worry, that's another benefit. And the last one is improve relationships with other people, because once you let that wall down, when you forgive the person, when you have unforgiveness, a wall is erected, right? When you forgive the person, that wall comes down and you're better able to connect and have improved relationships with that person and forgive them.
I bet it's like you feel free whenever you do that. It's like when you let go of that resentment, when you let go, it's like, okay, I'm gonna trust again. It could be a friendship. It could, it could be many different scenarios.
Right.
But whenever you let go and at least try, give those baby steps,
yes,
it feels good. And
right.
it might take us, a couple of is a trial and error. It might take you a little bit, but if you're heading towards that decision, trying to practice it, I'm going to learn to forgive and let go, because it's healthier. It's just a healthier way of living.
Right.
And I so appreciate you sharing and talking about this topic with us, because it's not easy, talking about forgiveness. But in your profession, you are a counselor, and you see probably this often. So what role does forgiveness play in healing emotionally and healing any psychological trauma?
Well, when you experience trauma, sometimes it makes you feel powerless. And when you're able to forgive someone, you are able to take back that power, because now you have the choice to decide, how am I going to manage or deal with this hurt, as well as the person. So you're taking back that power that you might have lost when the person hurt you. And the other thing is, trauma can cause you to isolate from other people. And when you are in the practice of forgiving that person, you are able to not be held back by that pain and that hurt, when you can start giving yourself to others, and you're able to have healthier, or have relationships, or re-engage, or restore the relationship.
So we do need time for healing, right? Is that what I understood? You need that time for healing before you get back.
Right. So the initial thing is make the decision, and then the time frame of the process of healing or forgiving is going to be unique to each person. There is no set time frame on forgiveness. We'll talk more about how do you know that you are where you are in that process.
Okay. Could you share an exercise or a strategy, that can help us in this process of forgiving?
One of the things that I've found to be most helpful is to write a letter, right? But before you even get to writing the letter, you want to acknowledge the hurt itself. So I was hurt by, or I was hurt when, and then be very specific about what the transgression was that they did against you, and how it impacted and affected you, right? That's very important that you acknowledge that hurt. And the second thing is, you want to talk about or write down, what are the benefits of me forgiving this person. So write it down. What have I lost as a result of unforgiveness? What could I potentially gain as a result of me forgiving this person? Practicing empathy is always very timely. Empathy is being able to try to see from the other person's perspective. So writing out, what were they thinking? What could their intentions have been that led them to do this act against me and hurt me in this way? With the forgiveness letter, you're going to write a letter to the person acknowledging, like I said, the hurt that you felt and how it impacted you. There's a second letter I think you would need to write, and it also goes in line with the empathy, is trying to imagine in your brain, when you're writing your second letter, of what this person may have been thinking or feeling, what their response would be when they read your letter. So that was 2 letters. And I think that within itself is pretty powerful.
Yes. I can see. Yes. heard of this strategy before, just even if you're having a bad day, but it's like this one is with more intention. You're writing down in detail how you felt, how you're seeing the situation from your point of view. Because like you're saying, the other person is seeing the situation from a different angle.
Yes. Mhm.
So
And
go ahead.
so I wanted to do a guided imagery. And what I want our audience to do is to just kind of listen as I read through the imagery script. And if they want to get in a comfortable position, uncross your legs and your arms and final focus spot or close their eyes. I'm going to kind of read through this guided imagery that will be helpful in moving you through the forgiveness process. Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Let's go.
All right. Okay, here we go. I want you to imagine that you are standing in a beautiful, peaceful place in nature. This could be a beach, a forest, or any other place that feels calm and serene to you. Take a moment to notice the sights, sounds, and sensations around you and allow yourself to fully immerse in this tranquil setting. Now bring to mind the person or situation that you are seeking to forgive. Allow yourself to feel any emotions that come up, but try to observe them with curiosity and without judgment. Imagine that you are holding a small, brightly glowing ball in your hands. This ball represents the negative emotions that you have been holding on to, such as anger, resentment, and hurt. Notice the weight and the heaviness of the ball in your hand and the way that it feels in your body. Now imagine that you are releasing the ball into the air, watching as it rises higher and higher and higher and higher until it disappears from your view. As you release the ball, imagine that you are also releasing the negative emotions and thoughts that have been weighing you down. Take a moment to focus on your breath, feeling the rise and fall of your chest. Imagine that with each inhale, you are breathing in peace, compassion, and understanding. With each exhale, you are releasing any remaining tension or negativity. Finally, imagine that you are wrapping yourself in a warm, comforting embrace. Feel the love and compassion that surrounds you, and know that you are worthy of forgiveness and acceptance. When you are ready, slowly bring your attention back to the present moment. Take a few deep breaths and allow yourself to feel grounded and centered. Remember that forgiveness is a process and that it takes time and effort to fully let go of negative emotions. But with practice and patience, it is possible to cultivate forgiveness and move forward in a positive way.
Thank you. I wasn't expecting you're going to do a session on us with us. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Uh,
So, you can Google, go to YouTube and find some guided imagery scripts, and you can record yourself talking what you need to hear. You can use someone else's voice. But that is a great way to kind of work yourself through the process of forgiveness and imagining, visualizing something different than what you're feeling right now.
I mean, it helps because if you pay attention to the ocean or the leaves or animals around it, what your
Mhm.
feet are feeling if you are on the sand or
Yeah.
stepping on the dirt. So like, yeah, it brings peace.
And those things bring you back into the present moment of what's happening in your visualization. And you're not, at that time, you're not thinking about the past when you first start your visualization.
I love what you said, that we are worthy of
Oh,
forgiving.
yeah.
Like
Yeah.
we are enough. We matter so much. We're enough that we are capable of forgiving and moving on. Because that's
Yes,
growth.
it is. Yeah.
It's
Mhm.
growth and progress in our life. So
And that's another benefit. I didn't even say that of forgiveness. Growth is another benefit. Personal development,
yes,
growth, moving from
yes.
one place in your life to another.
Do you have you ever helped a client having this negative feelings of maybe anger, resentment towards a person that they're trying to forgive?
Mhm. I have. Um, I have some couple success stories. One of them both of them involves a couple healing from infidelity, working with me and going through the process of those emotions. And when I use the word process, I mean that literally. It is a process to get to that point of forgiveness and recommitting to the new marriage. Once you experience a trauma, things are not going to be back the way they were. So you got to create this newness, this new life, this new marriage, which is the latter part of the forgiveness process. Is the newness of it. But those two couples came for therapy, really distraught, considering divorce and not thinking that they could move beyond because they were so hurt from the trauma. A lot of anger and resentment. So we had to work through those emotions of anger and resentment and let go of that desire to hurt you and withhold my love from you because I'm angry and upset. And it's a process, so it takes some time to work through those emotions, and then to get to a place to have the empathy, trying to imagine what you were going through, what your intentions were when this act was done, and then moving forward, like I said, the newness of what that relationship is going to be. We worked together probably for about 9 months, and it's an ongoing progress because over time you're going to be triggered with memories of things that happened that was hurtful, and so you may question, did I forgive this person? I'm having these emotions. um, like I said, forgiveness is a process, and so when you're triggered, those memories come back. You are going to remember them, um, but you want to ask yourself, am I responding differently from this memory or this trigger than I did when it first happened? If you're responding differently, in a more positive way, you're not as angry, you're not as depressed, you're not as anxious, that's signs that you are moving forward in the whole forgiveness process.
Yes, I see that. Yes, once you are aware that you're being triggered, and then pay attention of how we're behaving, and it's part of the healing process.
Yes.
Yes.
I think your other question was helping them navigate through the feelings. Is that what your question was?
Yes, yes. How can we help guide our people or anybody in the audience, if we're dealing with a resentment right now, if there
Mhm.
is an anger, how do you help your clients navigate through the
Well,
process?
we first want to validate how they're feeling, that it makes sense that you would feel that way with what has happened to you. You also want to normalize those feelings in situations like that. I've seen where people have responded or said or felt that way about what's happening, so they're not feeling isolated or I don't like to say this word, because I'm in a profession of helping people, but feel like they're
Mhm.
crazy for feeling this way, right? So we want to normalize what they're feeling. You want to also encourage them to express those emotions, get it out, don't hold it in, but express them in a place of safety. Um, would be the recommendation. You want to help them to reframe their perspective because they know pretty well their perspective of the situation. So helping them to see another perspective that's different from theirs about what happened, why it happened. It goes back to that whole curiosity of looking at the situation and being curious about what happened and why it happened. And the last thing would be identifying what are the growth areas. So this has happened to me. How do I move from that? How do I grow from this? Or recognizing how have you grown as a result of this hurt you've experienced? How have you grown in this situation? You know, have I learned to be more patient? Have I learned to manage my anger? Have I learned some things about my personality that I didn't know about myself had I not gone through this experience that I went through that was a bad experience? Yeah.
Yes.
So filling out the growth opportunities in the situation.
This bring me a memory of like the disappointment. Like sometimes we might have a disappointment because we had an expectation, and it's not like they caused the disappointment. It's like we had the expectation that the relationship should be this way because that's how we imagine it, that's how we created it in our world, and we expected this relationship to go one way, but it didn't go it didn't go the way that you expected it. So sometimes there is hurt, but in reality is, well, I created it. It's like I created that illusion, that expectation that our friendship would go this way. Or, I don't have a sister, but if I had a sister, it would be like, oh, having an amazing relationship, see each other as much as we can, build a sisterhood.
Yeah.
But it could be that my sister was like, no, I'm going to travel the world and I'm going to see you on the holidays only. But then that expectation was like, oh, but this is what sisterhood looks like to me. But to her, it's completely different. So if I'm mad at her, if I have the resentment towards her, it's not her fault because her definition of sisterhood is way different than the one I created through our childhood.
Right. And so I'm hearing you say to be able to work towards that, to forgiveness, you would have to express to her that I had this unspoken expectation of what sisterhood meant. And let's talk about it.
Yeah. Yes. And I find myself here lately. It's like, oh, that was that was my unspoken expectation because I created it. But life is, reality is different. But it's okay. I just have to learn to be aware that it's not what I expected because it was, like you said, it's unexpected
Expectation.
Mm-hmm. So sometimes we get trapped. We expect, maybe I expected my aunt to be this way, but she's not. But I'm still gonna love her for who she is.
Right.
It's like I don't want to, because getting a hold of this resentment, it's not healthy. Like you said, it's like if you let them go, then it's peaceful. You live a peaceful life. So I'm learning that it's a lifestyle.
That's a good word.
It's a lifestyle because as a teacher, I have to forgive my students every day because sometimes they're not their 100%. Sometimes their mouth or their behavior it's not there.
Right.
On our standards. So it's like I have to forgive them because if I get a hold of those, he did this, she did this, it's like it's not worth it. And understanding that they are young, beautiful people, that their brain is developing.
And that's the other perspective outside of your own perspective, right?
Yes, but inviting everybody right here is like to begin to see that forgiveness is a lifestyle. It's a new habit that I am adopting this year. So because it makes life even funner.
Yes. And lighter. Yeah.
Yes, of course. Yes. How do you measure progress, in terms of a client's ability to moving towards forgiveness?
Well, I like to say it this way. If you are around the person, you have a memory of the person that, something that reminds you of that person. Do you experience those same intense, raw emotions, negative emotions that you felt during the time that they injured you? If you're not feeling that level of intensity emotions and you're feeling different, maybe more positive emotions, then that's an indicator of that you're moving along in the forgiveness process. Are you able to be around the person? I'm not saying you have to resume the relationship, but are you able to be casual with them, courteous, to them, respectful to them? Are you able to create an environment where they don't feel anxious around you because I know I hurt you, and so are you going to treat me a certain way? But you're able to create an environment where they can feel that, okay, she has forgiven me, and that anxiety, that awkwardness, the anger and resentment, those things are not there in that environment. That person can feel the shift, that things have changed.
You're opening that door, like the love flow is dripping, and every time is like you're able to give more. So that's
That's good. You're able to give
uh
more.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because when you're hurt, it's like, nope, you have to heal.
That's right. And you're closed off. And so you'll be more willing to extend yourself. Like you just said, you'll be more willing to extend yourself, your emotions, maybe even invest more in that person or that relationship.
Mm.
Mhm.
How do you approach or guide someone to approach forgiveness when the person is no longer present?
I still like the writing a letter, not so much with the second letter, just that initial letter, just expressing what happened, how I felt about it, how it impacted me, that I'm releasing you of the debt that I've assigned to you for my own good and my own healthiness. It will give you closure and help you let go and release some of those emotions. That's something I would suggest. If you choose to burn that letter or put it in a balloon and watch it, go off into the sky, that's an option. But the burning it, tearing it up, or letting it go in a balloon in the air is symbolic of I am releasing this and get it out of me. I'm releasing and letting it go. Imagine the conversation with the person. Actually put a chair in front of you, an empty chair, put a teddy bear in the chair, and you have a conversation with this person, an imaginary conversation of what happened, how I felt about it. Same thing as writing a letter, but you're actually having a conversation, an imaginary conversation with the person as if they were sitting in front of you or on the phone, but it's just an imaginary conversation. And then you may want to focus on just becoming the best version of yourself, not falling prey to what happened to me, but working on developing yourself and achieving those life goals that you set for yourself, not letting that unforgiveness or that situation keep you from becoming the best version of yourself. So,
And don't I have a 5-year-old, and sometimes I was like, "Why are you spanking the dog?" Well, 3 days ago he chewed on my dog. I was like, well, that was 3 days ago. You need to learn to let go.
I
So
have
yeah.
I have a similar conversation with my 13-year-old. I can get on to him about something, and then a couple minutes later, I'll go in and give him a hug and say, "Hey, I love you. How you doing?" And he'll be like, "Well, you just got on to me and fussed at me about such and such." And I was like, "Well, I did. However, as you go through life, things are going to happen. You're gonna be hurt. It was not my end. I'm sorry you got hurt in the process. However, your feelings got hurt in the process. However, we have things we have to do, and I want you to be able to let things go and not hold grudges against people because that's not a good thing to do towards people. You can be missing out."
Yes, I was telling my mom that funny conversations. Like, it's been 3 days, but that he did something. And she's like, "Oh, that sounds like me towards your dad." 5 years ago. So I was like, "Yep." Sometimes, here we go, the memories, and
Yeah.
it triggers you. So learning to ease that trigger, to recognize and be clever enough and say no. My new lifestyle, it's forgiveness, and I'm not going to let that thought drive that feeling and behavior.
Yeah.
So
And I have forgiven him or her for that. I have made a choice to forgive him or her for that. Just that's your script. When it comes up, I have forgiven them for that. Mhm.
here we go. Like, it makes life so much juicier, more
Mhm.
joyful, and you
Mhm.
enjoy those small moments through life. So
Yeah.
yeah. How do you support clients who might be struggling with the concept, of forgiveness? Anybody in the audience right now that might be like, forget that, it's like I have so much resentment right now. I just cannot even digest that word of forgiving.
Right. And it's an individual choice to forgive or not to forgive. And it's kind of like the other answer I gave. You want to validate, normalize. I can see why you're feeling that way. Once again, ask them, what are the benefits? What have you given up as a result of holding on to the unforgiveness? What could you possibly gain if you was to forgive this person? Which would you choose? Which would be a better choice for you, to forgive or not to forgive? Helping them to just develop some coping strategies to manage when those emotions pop up or surface for them. What can they do with those negative emotions when they arise? And they may have to adjust their expectations, because they may be thinking that this person owes me an apology. I'm going to get this apology. I'm not going to talk until I get this apology. And that apology may not ever come. May not ever come. So being willing to adjust your expectations for the person who has injured you to apologize, and reframe that to, should I forgive them for my own well-being? Because I see how it's impacting my life, how it's controlling my life, the things I'm missing out on because I'm holding on to unforgiveness. Question yourself: should I forgive them? What are the barriers that are preventing you from forgiving this person? Let's talk about the obstacles that are preventing you from forgiving the person, then work on those things. And then they may have to seek out some specialized help from a therapist, or someone that specializes in trauma or grief or whatever other kind of specialty they need to seek out, that's in conjunction with the unforgiveness.
Now that you say this, one, like thinking of like an argument, like somebody like uh arguing, one of the biggest things that that I've learned is like, if this person hurt you through their actions, his actions, and you're mad, is like also like questioning, well, I wonder what was going through their head, or what was going through their life at that time. Because sometimes that behavior, whenever they overreact, is either they're in pain or they're really, really screaming for help. They just don't know how to communicate.
Mm-hmm.
So learning also to like understand maybe what, why they yell at you, why they uh took the chair. I don't know. I'm just making up things that come
No,
to
no,
my mind. That
yeah, and that's the curiosity part, being curious about, what could have led them to be that way with you or to hurt you. And then also the empathy, seeing if you can imagine where they're coming from when they did that. Not that you're saying I agree with what they did. You're just saying, trying to imagine, where they were coming from, what prompted that.
and another thing that I've talked to another person about is like, also is like, if they're going through that argument, you can ask them, are you feeling okay? Like, if you don't want to continue the argument, you don't want to go to the next level, it's
Yeah.
like, if you ask questions so that it doesn't go to the next level of
Mhm.
anger and maybe a fight, but it's like, hey, are you okay? If you are, if you're choosing that lifestyle of forgiveness, of like no drama, it's like
Mhm.
being able to use that empathy and understanding that maybe this person is going through a hard time. Did you have a bad day? What's going on? Like learning to level down those emotions,
Yeah.
that could be another way that we can add to our lifestyle, uh, if we choose not to step into the drama.
Another question could be, how can I help? Mhm. Yeah.
How can I help?
How can I help?
And talking about, I do this because that's our prefrontal cortex is the last area of our brain that develops, and that's where our empathy is.
Hmm. Hmm.
And sometimes whenever we're like we're not listening to a prefrontal cortex, or it's not functioning correctly. It's the amygdala that is like going on survival mode.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to understand those that we have around. If they're overreacting, it could be that they're hungry as well.
Oh yeah, hungry or tired.
They're tired.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
What are the benefits of forgiving ourselves? I think that's a big one too, that we have to
Yeah.
learn from our mistakes
Mm-hmm.
and forgive ourselves.
Well, we're freeing ourselves of any shame and guilt that we're experiencing as a result of the hurt that we've caused someone else. So you are releasing yourself from that debt that you feel like you owe as a result of hurting that person. It will help you increase in having self-compassion, right? Giving you sprinkle some grace on yourself that you are human, you make mistakes, you're not perfect. That's not. I'm not saying you have to continue to engage in hurtful behavior. I'm just saying there are times when you need to extend self compassion to yourself and that sprinkle that grace on yourself. Also, improving relationships when you forgive yourself, because once again, that wall that went up is now down, and now you're able to, reach out and connect with that person because you've let go of those feelings you had about the hurt you caused to them. And also, it helps you with building resilience. Being able to acknowledge what you did, accept responsibility for it, and to move forward, which is the resilience part. Overcome it.
This goes to all of our teachers, because sometimes the lesson does think, oh, I should have done that. Oh, it's like, it's okay, I'll try it next time. So here we go. It's like
Uh-huh.
having that empathy also for yourself, that it didn't go as planned, but you're learning through the process.
Well, believe me, I'm pretty sure we'll have another opportunity to get it right. It will present itself another way. We'll be able to get it
Yeah.
right next time.
Yes. And same thing as, you are a marriage counselor in our marriage. Sometimes we put a pause, and it's like, oh, I shouldn't have put the pause on our marriage. I could have nurtured, every Friday or every weekend, just spend the 30 an hour, whatever, we want to. Sometimes we mess up too, because we get busy with life.
Yeah.
So learning to forgive that sometimes we don't deserve the best wife award or the best mother award, because dinner wasn't ready at on time, or little
Yeah.
things like that. I think
Mhm.
it could be also a habit, lifestyle, to be like, okay, I messed up. How can I do it better next
Yeah.
time,
Mhm.
and see it as a learning experience.
Yeah. Don't get stuck there and don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mhm.
What has been like your biggest like takeaway whenever you have gone through this process personally of forgiving?
The biggest takeaway from the couples that I've worked with is that it takes time. Just because I say that I forgive you out of my mouth does not mean that immediately my actions are going to match up with what I said. It's a work in progress. I've made the decision, I've said it, and I need time for my behaviors to also be congruent with what I've said to you. And it's an individual journey, forgiveness.
And I'm guessing it's also a commitment, right?
Mhm.
And start to work.
Commitment. You mentioned lifestyle, you know. Mhm. And also, another part of it is the person who hurt you, you do want to see them engage. It's like a math formula. You want to see them engage in right behavior over time will regain your trust. So once you've made that decision to forgive them, the hope is over time their behavior is going to be such that it's going to their reward is going to be you trusting them again.
Another one, and I was talking to you right before we went into air. Sometimes, like you said, you might never hear the "I'm sorry." Like I was telling you about the students, that they heard this bad comment, and it will stay for them, and it stays with them for the rest of their life until they are ready to heal.
Mhm.
So for what would you tell, like a young lady who hears comments that are no nice, and they're traumatic because I see it. It's like I see the pain. And most likely she will never hear the I'm sorry. So what would you tell this beautiful young lady?
Yeah. Sometimes, so hurt people. And oftentimes when people are saying bad things about someone else, it's because they don't feel very good about themselves. So I'm going to put you down, or they're hurting themselves. They're hurt. They have this inner hurt going on for themselves. That's what I would say. Yes, you heard it. What are the facts? Are there any facts that support what this harmful thing they said about you? Challenge those thoughts yourself. Examine them. If they're not true, not accurate, you don't have to accept those thoughts about what somebody else says about you. That's their opinion. It doesn't have to be your opinion about you.
Thank you. Yes, hurt people.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Thank you for that. Oh, we have another strategy, another technique that you can share with us. We write the letter. You told us to visualize forgiveness. Prayer. I know you are very close to God. So praying could be another one, right?
Praying is a good strategy. It's always timely to pray, asking God, just being honest, having a conversation with him. This is how I feel. This is what happened. Not that he doesn't know, just a conversation though. And I need you to touch my heart and help me to forgive this person that injured me. And, the fruits of the spirit is, I'm drawing a blank. This one in particular does not keep record of wrong. So, helping me to display the fruits of the spirit, to not keep record of the wrong that was done, but to forgive them just as Jesus Christ forgave. He said, forgive them for they know not what they do. And ask for forgiveness for that person who injured you as well. But yes, prayer is always a great strategy to manage unforgiveness.
Yes. And Sharon is the author of a beautiful book. I don't have it with me right now. You want to talk about your book a little bit?
Yeah. The book is Couples Determined to Make Marriage Great. Can you give me 1 second? Let me see if I can put my
Yes. It is a great book that I read about, I don't know, back in February. I think we had Sharon in the show. And she talked about her experience as an author. She talked about her experience as a marriage coach and counselor. So, yeah, did you find it?
Yeah, I don't have a copy in my office, but it's called Couples Determined to Make Marriage Great. It's a book anthology. There are 15 contributing authors, all married, talking about some challenges in marriage and how they overcame those challenges. My chapter is Knitted Together, but Not Perfect, where we're talking about our experiences as a blended family going through some challenges with my oldest son, who is incarcerated, and how we were able to tap into our faith, our support network, and cleave to each other to make it through that difficult time.
Yeah, it's a great book that I personally got to learn from each couple.
Mm-hmm.
We all have different, back history, but still is like I learned a lot from your story. Unspoken expectations.
You gotta remember that. That's great because I had I had unspoken expectations for Emilio. Yes, I sure did.
Yes. So for anybody out there, if you have unspoken expectations, in the family, it could be with our kids too, not just with the marriage. It's on us because we're not expressing,
Right.
our expectations. This is what I would like. It's not like we're demanding, but coming from a warm heart, talk to our family, talk to our husband. Is like, okay, this is what I would like our marriage to go. This is how I would like our family to behave or to serve or to grow. So it's a beautiful story that I still remember. So like, yeah, unspoken expectations.
When we express those expectations, we kind of set our spouse up for success because now they know firsthand what we're wanting and desiring. So we need to Speak it out.
Yes, definitely. It's like same thing in the classroom. We tell our students how we expect them to behave. So at home is the same. But even whenever, like, the biggest learning is like, if we're gonna grow together, okay, this is what I would love. What would you like? And then together creating the journey. The same thing with
Yes.
our children. Asking, and it's like, what would you like? Like, this is what I would like
Right.
things to go.
Hmm.
And communicating. Here we go. It's the foundation.
Yes.
And how many moments of desperation we're saving whenever we're speaking and communicating how we want things to go.
Right, because we're being proactive. We're able to express what we need and what we want, what we
Yeah.
desire. Hmm.
Yes.
So we're not being
And,
reactive, we're being proactive.
and it seems like that's the way of living, right? It's like being
Mhm.
proactive and seeing, okay, where are we heading? Instead of like living every day, one day at a time.
Yeah.
It's like, no, where are we heading? Where is our goal? Where is the target that we're going to meet next?
Yes. Uh-huh.
And work
That's
as a
good.
team.
Hmm.
And working as a team.
That's the
So
partnership. Can't have marriage and relationships without partnership.
yes.
Hmm.
What talk to us a little bit. We're almost out. We have about 4 minutes left.
Uh-huh.
But forgiving in the workplace. Have you had any stories or clients that might be dealing with issues in the workplace?
If at all possible, if you're able to have the person by themselves have a one-on-one conversation, if that's possible, to be able to do that, to express, I felt when this happened, and have an exchange about what happened with the other person, kind of see what their perspective is about what happened, and how can we move forward so that this doesn't happen again, or how can we change, what are our next steps be to prevent this from happening again. But if, like I said, if at all possible, pulling that person off to the side, removing the audience, just you and them, if at all possible, and having a conversation with them about what happened. I felt this way when this happened. What I would like
Right.
is, yeah. Hmm.
The
Yeah.
time is up. Do you have a last message for our beautiful audience today?
Well, if you are in the process of trying to make a decision of should you forgive someone, I would just like to say to you, ask yourself, what would be the benefits of me forgiving this person? And compare that to what you've already sacrificed and given up because you're holding on to unforgiveness. And then make a decision of how you want to respond to that person moving forward. But remember, your emotional well-being is what's most important.
Thank you. Yes, I think one of my biggest takeaway is like, okay, what are you going to win? What are you going to get if
Yeah.
you choose to forgive? It's like, how are
Yeah.
you going to feel? How's your life going to look like after this process? So I think that's a huge inspiration for
Yeah.
a lot of us to adopt this a new lifestyle
Hmm. I like
of,
that word, lifestyle of forgiveness.
yes. And understanding here, understanding was like, I wonder what she's going through. I wonder what he's going through
Hmm. Yeah.
for them to act this way. Or it's always two sides, it's like two sides. If I show you my cup, this is what you see, but
Uh-huh.
this is what I see on my side.
Right. So we have your
So
perspective, we have my perspective.
yes, exactly. So just a lifestyle of adding that forgiveness into our everyday practice.
Yes, yes, yes. Hmm.
Thank you so much for being here today and guiding us and how to forgive, how to learn to let go. It's so important to me to to help others learn how to forgive, because I would love to see gathering versus division.
Oh, yeah.
Uh,
Mhm.
and it's one of my big ones as an immigrant, is like teach all of the beautiful people that might have been feeling that resentment because they felt rejected. It's
Right.
like, like, it's okay. What do you learn from it? And
Yes.
just, growth, choosing growth every day. But blessings to you all.
Thank you for
Thank you.
having me.
You're so welcome. Remember, you all, that you have the power to bring your talents alive, to bring your dreams, come true. Remember that this show can also be heard on Spanglish Radio Network. Please check out spanglishworld.ca for all news and programming. Spanglish World, watch it, hear it, read it, download it, and live it. Blessings, blessings, and we'll see you soon.